Hello everyone, and happy Chinese New Year! Sorry this video is a day late. I've been rather busy recently with loads of work in the daytime and organising global health events and other medical related things. Also in the evenings I've been going to lots of dinners. I actually have 4 3-course dinners this week, although in total it's only costing me £8, so super cheap. And then I'm also going out for dinner to celebrate Chinese New Year, which is very exciting. Anyway, today I thought I would talk about what it's really like to be in an environment where you're surrounded by some of the world's most leading academics. This definitely does not just apply to Oxford, but a whole range of universities, although obviously my view is going to be somewhat swayed towards the more science-based areas. Obviously, I'm sure you've already heard about how Oxford is known for its tutorial system, where you're essentially paired with certain academics within your college. This works really well, and tutors usually really care about making sure that you progress and are doing the things that are right for you within your work. But really, it's expected that these professional relationships should flourish. So I'm not going to talk about that so much. I'm rather going to discuss how such an environment influences other aspects of your learning lifestyle while here. So firstly, lectures. These are often seen as rather supplementary to the tutorials, but at least for science subjects, people typically go to most of them. So they're rather important. We'll learn rather early on that most lecturers are pretty good at giving talks, and of course all of them are good in their respective fields. Well, amazing in their respective fields. Although you do end up with 2 extremes. On one side, you have the lecturers who care so much about their research, but not so much about teaching others. So you can really tell that they're just waiting to get over with the teaching that's perhaps part of their work and contracts and get on with what they actually want to be doing. Nearly everyone will have an experience of this at some point, although usually these lectures are kind of weeded out. At least in the medical school, we have to give feedback on every single lecture series, as well as extra feedback every single term, as well as attending consultation meetings. And considering that I'm part of representing a BMA in Oxford, I've also got to go to extra JCC meetings about any problems that occur within the course. So if anybody isn't up to scratch, then the respective departments will be notified quickly and usually are very swift in doing things about it. So I wouldn't be so concerned about that. But on the other hand, you have the academics who really care about teaching, and just one lecture or a few lectures is nowhere near enough for them. So don't be surprised if lectures overrun or don't actually finish, because they have so much they want to tell you. Also, it's surprisingly common for academics to show you the research that they're currently doing. Often in lectures I'll be highlighting the exact experiments they're working on and the problems that they're facing, which is really useful so you have knowledge of like the forefront of the field. This also similarly happens in art subjects. I do an optional module in history of science, and one of our lecturers actually gave us a chapter of his book which is yet to be published, which is really good. The only problem with this is that when writing essays, it's pretty hard to cite information that has yet to be published and may actually not be. Another area where having all these academics here is really important for is in conducting your own research projects, which happens in a lot of subjects. So medicine, biomedicine, chemistry, biology. I'm sure many other science subjects have this too. The sheer abundance of research that goes on in Oxford means it's super duper easy to find something that interests you. At least for medicine, when we need to start looking for our research projects that we're going to do towards the end of 2nd year into 3rd year, they provide us with a list of up to say 200 different projects that we can get involved with. It's unbelievable. It's kind of hard to try and decide what you want to do because there are just so many options. For general interest, I personally did a project on microvascular changes following pregnancy complications, such as preeclampsia or gestational hypertension. This also means that as well as for just your course, it's really easy to find work to do over the summer. and this is really helpful for getting the appropriate experience that you may need for applying to jobs in the future. Although I know you're probably all a long way off thinking about that, but it's important. Although it should also be noted that research at Oxford is pretty intense, especially for the actual academics. They need to constantly churn out original and insightful information. So it does mean that you may be working on something that is completely new and no one's ever done before, which is really, really great. But it also means that the academics you'll be working with, perhaps, will themselves be working unbelievably hard. So you're going to probably be low down on the priority list, meaning that there could be lots of following up or trying to arrange things, and a lot more responsibility on yourself than you perhaps expect. So saying that, most academics handle their time surprisingly well. So for example, my supervisor for my extended essay this year, which I'm doing on tuberculosis, is really good at finding time to slot me in to discuss the topic. Like, she's recently just popped to Ethiopia to visit the multi-centre clinical vaccine trials that she's involved with, and despite her extremely limited internet, she's still replying to all my emails as quickly as she possibly can, even though that I know I'm just a small student and she's extremely high up in the whole world of TB vaccines. So really it's A, quite inspiring that she's so organised, and B, quite nice to know that she, like many other people here, cares so much about our learning, even though we're on the first step. Finally, this doesn't so much concern the academics that you're going to be taught or tutored by, but being in the Oxford environment, and especially being in third year, people are applying for things that they're going to be doing in the future. I can already see people who are hoping to go on to postgraduate education, and it's just very interesting to know that I'm probably already friends with the people who are going to be at the forefront of their respective fields in the upcoming decades. It's kind of amazing, really. Anyway, that's all for now, so bye!